You are now watching The Beach.
The 2000s to the early 2010s were what I consider to be the golden era of Nintendo. Not only did we get phenomenal games, but Nintendo was willing to experiment with their games. Mario was given a jetpack in addition to cleanup duty. Meanwhile, his brother was catching ghosts in a haunted mansion. And the King of Kong himself was slapping and clapping his way through the jungle and having a boombastic jam session. There were many experimental games during this era, and that even includes Nintendo DS games. New Super Mario Bros. Is what got me into the Mario series, and I wanted to play all the DS Mario games. I was able to get most of them, but there was one game that always intrigued me that I didn't get until many years later. I got into gaming during the early 2010s. The reason why I bring this up is because things might be different now. I call my friends friends instead of the more hip term mutuals, so I could be out of the loop. But looking back to when I was 10, asking for Super Princess Peach would have been embarrassing. It wouldn't matter even if I explained it's a Mario game where you play as Peach. Asking for it back then would pretty much equate to saying this.
Look, I'm a girl.
Many years went by, and I was still intrigued, and I finally got the game in 2019 without the irrational fear of humiliation. The Mario series has seen role reversal games since the beginning, Donkey Kong Jr. being the only game to feature Mario as a villain. It's always interesting seeing what games would be like if the roles are reversed, but is Super Princess Peach as peachy keen as it sounds? Grab your parasol as we find out how Super Princess Peach is held up. Super Princess Peach was developed by Tosei Software. If the name doesn't sound familiar, it shouldn't. They go uncredited, but they're mainly known for the Game & Watch Gallery games. Oddly enough, this isn't the first game to star Peach. It was an LCD watch game called Princess Toadstool's Castle Run. Similar to how Luigi's Hammer Toss was the first game to star Luigi, but Super Princess Peach was the first actual video game to star Peach as a protagonist. It actually released a few months before New Super Mario Bros. Peach has been playable in quite a few Mario games, most notably Super Mario Bros. 2, and then Super Mario 3D World, but an entire game focused on Peach was a new concept. Games like Yoshi's Island, Wario Land, and Luigi's Mansion helped develop these characters further, as well as creating a world for them. Peach is mainly portrayed as a damsel in distress, and is in dire need of more development, so I'm curious to see what this game did with Peach. Our story begins with Bowser and his minions plotting an unusually sophisticated plan to capture the Toads and the Mario Brothers. In Mario games, you'll often see a cutscene where Peach gets taken at the beginning, sometimes in creative ways, but it's usually the same. But here, there is much more going on. Bowser takes over Peach's castle using the relic, the Vibe Scepter. It's able to change and control emotions, and also served as the tool to capture the Mario Brothers. There's also some unfortunate implications on what the Vibe Scepter actually is. This was during Nintendo's obsession of putting decisions in laughable design only sometimes into their games. If you think about it, it's never really explained why Bowser captures Peach, but here, it's clear he's out for revenge, and he has a plot of taking over the castle. Peach then gains courage to rescue them, and is given a sentient umbrella from Toadsworth named Perry. By the way, where is Toadsworth? He hasn't been in a new game since Mario & Luigi Dream Team. Yet again, if I got invited to an unfinished Mario Golf game, I'd sit out too. The main story is what you'd expect, but I appreciate the level of detail included a lot. There's even a secondary plot showcasing the backstory behind Perry. A little can go a long way for stories in Mario games. Just like the Super Mario Bros. Games, Super Princess Peach is a 2D platformer. You'll be traveling through Vibe Island clearing levels. The core concepts are the same here as they are in most Mario games. You still jump on enemies, and Koopa shells can still be thrown, but the game controls a bit differently. Peach runs by default, but you can have her walk by holding R. It threw me off at first, but I always dash through Mario levels, so running by default I had no issue with. Another thing that caught me off guard is that you use A to jump and B to attack. I'm more used to using Y and B, and an option for that would have been nice, but regardless, the game still controls well. Peach is joined by her companion Parasol, Perry. He's similar to other companion characters like Cappy, giving Peach more abilities. You can hit enemies with him, and also throw them. similar to Super Mario Bros. 2. He can also transform into different vehicles such as a boat or a lift to slide down ropes. Perry can also upgrade and gain different abilities. You can make Peach float just like in Super Mario Bros. 2, and Perry can also perform a charge attack. You can unlock the upgrades by spending coins in the shop. Coins can also be used to increase health points and the vibe meter. You can even purchase other stuff in the shop. Yes, Super Princess Peach had coins function as currency over a decade before any mainline Mario game did. Now this certainly doesn't help New Super Mario Bros. 2 case, now does it? Also gone are extra lives. Since Super Mario World, 1-ups have become meaningless. When you get a game over, you can start where you left off or at a checkpoint in New Super Mario Bros. They're archaic, and I'm glad Super Princess Peach did away with them. But a sentient companion, coins as currency, ditching game overs, Super Princess Peach, more like Super Princess Peach Odyssey. The game shares a lot in common with Mario games, but the main mechanic that separates Super Princess Peach from Mario games are the vibes. No, you don't lose control, and there's no system overload. Peach's emotions can be controlled. Peach has 4 vibes. Peach can become very cheerful and gain the ability to fly in the air. On the contrary, Peach can become very sad, which allows her to run faster, and it can help plants grow. And if you like Bowser's Fury, you haven't seen Peach's Fury. This is where Peach becomes furious about everything that Nintendo does. Oh wait, that's Demich's Fury. My bad. When Peach becomes furious, she can stun enemies and also incinerate obstacles. And finally, there's a calm vibe which can restore health. The vibes can be selected on the bottom screen at any time, but there is a meter for how long you can use them. I found that oftentimes, the default vibe meter didn't last as long as it should. You refill it by either getting blue orbs or grabbing an enemy and then ducking, so Perry can eat them. Usually you'll have plenty of opportunities to refill the gauge, but sometimes, enemies and orbs are scarce, so you'll have to backtrack in a level a bit. You'll definitely want to increase the meter in the shop. It's more of a nitpick and didn't impact the experience for me, but it's worth bringing up. The vibes can function as both power-ups and keys to complete a level. There are sections that you'll need to use the vibes to progress, but you can also use them to power up and defeat enemies. Peach isn't the only one who's moody either, the enemies are too. You'll often see Koopa Troopas strolling without a care in the world. You also have Goombas that range from furious to sad, but my favorite enemy by far is an enemy that I never thought we needed until I met him. Sad Dry Bones. It fits Dry Bones so well. I was once a Koopa with dreams, but now all I do is listen to Sleeping with Sirens and go to Hot Topic. There's a lot of variety with the enemies, with most being alternate forms of Mario enemies, but the creativity is definitely here. The mechanics are well designed and are fun to use, but the most important aspect of a platformer is the level design. Super Princess Peach's levels are more open than the ones found in Mario games. There's also no time limit. Okay, this game is really making the new Super Mario Bros. Games look really embarrassing. Your main objective is to reach the goal, but there are many collectibles hidden within the levels. The main collectibles are the 3 hidden toads found in the levels. They're very similar to the star coins, but there are quite a few other collectibles as well. Outside the standard levels, there are boss fights at the end of each world. You'll need to play a minigame that uses a touchscreen before you reach the boss. They're not bad, but they really weren't necessary. They didn't make the game feel more intuitive, and it's clear that they were only added to showcase the touchscreen of the DS. But how are the boss fights? Since it's similar to a Mario game, you may assume all you have to do is jump on an enemy 3 times. Wrong. These boss fights require the use of vibes and strategy. Peter Piranha is the first boss you fight, and you defeat him by crying up a storm and bloating him with water. The boss fights are really good, and I'd go as far to say they're better than most of the boss fights in 2D Mario games. Considering how much I've praised the game so far, it appears everything is just peachy. But I do have a few criticisms. The game is on the easier side, not because of extra lives being gone, but the levels are designed to be easy. The challenge is mainly collecting all the collectibles, so it's not easy to the point where it makes the game boring, but I would have liked to see more challenging levels. I'm also not a huge fan of the Ghost House levels either, since there's a lot of trial and error needed to complete the level, but those are very minor criticisms in the grand scheme of things, and the overall gameplay is excellent. But how is the presentation? The best way I can describe Super Princess Peach's art style is that it's a hybrid between Yoshi's Island and the Mario and Luigi games. The designs for the characters are more reminiscent of the Mario and Luigi games. The game uses sprites, but the characters are very expressive and have interesting designs. The locations, however, consist of standard themes that we've seen before. You have grassy plains, the forest, and stuff like that. The reason why I've criticized these locations in New Super Mario Bros. 2 and U is because they do nothing to make them stand out. The desert in Mario U, for example, is nearly identical to Wii, but only with a few moais and ice cream cones in the background. The locations in Super Princess Peach don't stand out too much, but the art design makes them stand out. As I stated before, it's a bit similar to Yoshi's Island. The environments use primarily pastel colors, giving the game a signature look. Vibe Island is similar to the Sprixie Kingdom in Super Mario 3D World because many of the locations consist of ones we've seen before, but they have their own feel to them. But by far my favorite aspects of the presentation are with Peach's reactions. On the bottom screen, you'll see Peach react to the situations in the game. The animations are really fun to watch, and the artwork is great. It almost looks like what a Mario anime would look like. There's even more Peach artwork you can see by collecting the puzzle pieces. The visual presentation is great, but how is the music? The songs fit the locations well and sound quite good. None of the songs particularly impressed me, but there are quite a few I really enjoyed, such as the Fury Volcano theme. The sound design shines the most when Peach is using the vibes. Her emotions directly impact the tone of the music. When she becomes happy, the music is more upbeat, and when she becomes angry, the music becomes, well, angrier. But I do think it was a missed opportunity not having Wonderwall playing when she is sad. The overall presentation is good, nothing too spectacular, but it makes the game be able to stand out on its own. Super Princess Peach has the traditional 8 worlds. The game is the typical length of most 2D platformers out there, but Super Princess Peach has an unbelievable amount of replay value. As I mentioned before, there are 3 toads hidden in the levels, but there are even more collectibles as well. You can find puzzle pieces and minigames in the levels. There's even a glossary describing the enemies in the game, and you can even purchase songs in the store. Going for 100% is a blast, and there's a lot more content than you'd initially expect. Unfortunately, there is no multiplayer in the game, and it's solely a single player experience, but really, that's the only criticism I have when it comes to content. You'll easily be able to get many hours out of the game. So far we've established that Super Princess Peach is a unique take on a 2D platformer. Not only are the mechanics interesting, but archaic elements like game overs and the time limit are ditched. The level design is also good, even if it's a bit easy, and there is a lot of content in the game. So what's the verdict? If I could go back to the past and give my younger self advice, it would have been to put Super Princess Peach on my birthday or Christmas list, even if it was seemingly embarrassing. Because this game is the definition of a true hidden gem. I did not expect it to be this good. I'd even go as far to say, I'd rank it with some of the best 2D Mario games. I'd love to see a sequel to the game, because there's a lot of potential to maybe turn it into a series. The DS was able to have expressive characters with the sprites, but imagine a hand-drawn sequel to the game. It would be like an interactive cartoon. But if there's one thing I would have liked to see, it would have been developing Peach's character further. The game is great, but it really didn't do much to elaborate more on Peach's character. Luigi's Mansion did a great job developing Luigi further, and I would have liked something similar for Peach here. But overall, Super Princess Peach is peachy keen, and an excellent game that's often overlooked. You could say the game had me tickled pink. Maybe that will also apply to the next game I'll be covering, and stay tuned for Trash or Treasure, Kirby Star Allies. It's quite a polarizing game, but Forgotten Land releases soon, so it'll be interesting to see how it's held up. So what do you guys think? Have you played Super Princess Peach? Let me know in the comments, and keep calm and da-da on.